The movie starts with Abigail practicing ballet alone in an empty theater while a group of criminals prepares to strike. A hacker disables the security cameras at her house and a sniper positions himself on the roof. When Abigail leaves, her driver unknowingly picks her up in a tracked car and the kidnappers follow. The hacker unlocks the house doors, allowing 3 criminals to hide in Abigail's bedroom. One woman objects to kidnapping a child, but the others insist. When Abigail gets home, she fights back but is eventually sedated. The rest of the team, monitoring outside, alerts the others about an approaching car. The trio bags Abigail sneaks out through a window and reunites with the sniper. As alarms go off, they escape just in time, checking her pulse and blindfolding her during the ride. Nearing traffic, the hacker directs the driver to take an alternate route, hiding the van behind a large truck. They eventually reach an old abandoned mansion outside the city, where they meet Lambert, who hired them. After handcuffing Abigail to a bed, Lambert reminds them of the rules: no sharing names or backstories, and no getting too friendly. It's a 24-hour job until Abigail's wealthy father pays the $50 million ransom. Lambert doesn't reveal the father's identity, but collects everyone's phones to avoid tracking. Before leaving, Lambert assigns each team member a code name inspired by the Rat Pack. The team then indulges in the mansion's drinks. Joey refuses to share her candy with Dean, who tries to guess everyone's backstory but fails. When Joey mocks him, the others bet she can do better. Using body language, clothes, and personalities, she accurately guesses. Frank is a former detective. Peter is a simple mob enforcer. Sammy the hacker is wealthy. And in it for fun, Rickles is a former Marine sniper. And Dean is a sociopathic driver. Frank deduces Joey is a recovering addict. Joey then checks on Abigail, who complains about her tight blindfold. Joey covers Abigail's face and removes the blindfold, noticing the handcuffs are hurting her. She recuffs Abigail's hands in front and reassures her they only want money. Abigail, still crying, makes Joey promise not to hurt her and reveals her father doesn't care about her. Before Joey leaves, Abigail ominously apologizes for what's going to happen to her. Concerned, Joey tells Frank that Abigail's father might be dangerous. Frank dismisses this as a ploy to evoke sympathy, but later checks on Abigail himself. Shocked to see her without the blindfold, he points his gun at her until she swears she didn't see him. Pressing her for information, Abigail reveals her father is Christophe Lazar, a notorious crime boss. Panicking, Frank rushes back to the group, declaring he's leaving. The others demand an explanation, and he reveals Abigail's father's identity. Joey and Rickles recognize the name and share Frank's fear. They argue, but ultimately decide to stay for the ransom money, planning to use it to escape and start anew. They agree to keep a close watch and secure all doors. Later, Joey hears a noise and finds an open window. While closing it, she notices an old statue of a father and child. She bumps into Rickles, who unsuccessfully flirts with her, and they agree to watch each other's backs, distrusting the others. Meanwhile, Sammy finds a TV room and is startled by a presence behind her. It's Dean, playing a prank, who then tries to flirt with her. Annoyed, Sammy angrily kicks him out. Dean finds Peter sleeping and draws a crude doodle on his face. As he wanders through the house, he enters a dark corridor filled with old pictures, one of which features a girl resembling Abigail. Next, he goes to the basement kitchen, where a door mysteriously opens by itself. Startled by a rat, he tries to leave, but is suddenly grabbed by an unseen force and pulled back. Sammy hears his screams and rushes to the basement, finding Dean sitting at a table. As she approaches, his head falls off, causing her to scream and vomit. The rest of the group arrives and agrees that Sammy couldn't have done it. They recall stories of Lazar's hitman, Valdez. Years ago, 3 top members of Lazar's gang were found beheaded and organless, despite being heavily guarded by the FBI. Worried, the group checks on Abigail and finds her safe. Rickles, terrified of Valdez, wants to leave, but they find another barred gate at the front door. Peter tries to force it open, triggering a security system that seals all the windows, trapping them inside. Joey concludes it's a trap. Rickles discovers his weapon is missing, and Joey rushes to ask Abigail if she's seen anyone besides her and Frank. Abigail reveals Frank threatened her, claiming to work for her father, and his real name is Valdez. Joey and Rickles share their findings and decide to find an escape route. As Joey tries to leave, she hears a noise and finds Rickles standing awkwardly. She discovers he's been fatally injured, and his body collapses into her arms. Panicked, she rushes downstairs. A furious Joey points her gun at Frank, accusing him of being Valdez and killing Rickles. Frank draws his gun, insisting that Joey is being manipulated by Abigail. He orders Peter to handle Abigail, who goes to her room to kill her. Before he can shoot, Joey disarms him, and Sammy and Frank Frank arrive, leading to a heated argument. Suddenly, Abigail removes her handcuffs and reveals her true nature as a vampire using a ballet move. She attacks Peter, but is shot by Frank. Shockingly, she heals instantly and rises again. Joey shoots her too, but the bullets have no effect, so they flee and lock the door. The group realizes that Abigail is Valdez. They discover that all exits are sealed with magnetically locked doors and thick shutters, which Sammy can't hack. Tensions rise, and Frank threatens Peter when he asks them to calm down. Frank and Joey fashion stakes from pool sticks, while Sammy searches for garlic in the kitchen. Joey doubts killing Abigail will solve anything, fearing it will anger her father. Armed with stakes, they return to Abigail's room but find it empty. Hearing music, they find Abigail dancing with Dean's body. She pretends to be innocent until Sammy attacks. Abigail overpowers her, showing that garlic is ineffective. Frank is pushed aside when he tries to help, but Peter manages to lift Abigail briefly before she throws him down and uses his cross to make him bleed, proving crosses don't affect her. Frank attempts to stab her, but is disarmed and stabbed in the leg instead. Defeated, the trio retreats downstairs, where Joey tends to their wounds. Joey recalls the sedative injection they used earlier and suggests using the spare syringe. They agree to split up, and whoever finds Abigail first will alert Joey through their earpieces for a surprise attack with the syringe. Sammy, exploring a dirty corridor, is startled by bats and falls into a pool filled with rotting bodies, forcing her to crawl out. Meanwhile, Abigail surprises Peter, who locks a door behind him in fear. Abigail breaks through and chases him using her ballet moves. As Peter runs, Frank accidentally opens a door, causing Peter to fall off the railing. Abigail chases Frank, pushing him down the stairs and sitting on him. Joey tries to inject her with the sedative, but Abigail knocks the syringe away. Sammy pulls Abigail off Frank, only to get bitten. Peter tackles Abigail, allowing Joey to retrieve the syringe and inject Abigail. As Abigail passes out, she hurls insults and threats. Sammy, worried about the bite, wonders if she'll transform. When Abigail wakes up, she finds herself locked in an elevator. Joey offers to release her if she reveals how to escape. Abigail admits she orchestrated everything and that Lambert works for her. She exposes everyone's backstories. Sammy embezzled money from her rich parents and targeted a major player. Peter was muscle for a crime family and betrayed them. Frank, once a detective, enjoyed the criminal life he infiltrated. Joey, a former army medic turned underground doctor, accidentally killed a gang member. Abigail reveals they all wronged Lazar, her father, and she kills his enemies to earn his love. She taunts that she let them live to play with them. Abigail offers to spare two if they release her. Frank suggests killing her, and Abigail changes the offer to save just one. Peter tries to free her, but Joey shoots him. The group leaves, leaving Frank to guard Abigail. Frank asks Abigail how to escape. She tells him to pull an Agatha Christie book in the library to open a secret door. Frank thanks her, but doesn't release her. Abigail breaks the door and attacks, but Joey arrives, breaking planks off a window to let in sunlight. The light burns Abigail's hand, and she retreats into the shadows to heal. Joey and Frank run to the library where they take refuge in the sunlight, streaming through a high window. Relieved, Sammy realizes she won't turn into a vampire. Frank pulls out the book Abigail mentioned, but nothing happens as she lies. Frustrated, he throws a tantrum while Joey tries unsuccessfully to break down the wall. Anxious and out of candy, Joey explains to Sammy that she left her son to get clean, planning to use the money from this job for a fresh start. Inspired by the word reset, Sammy suggests finding the power source to short the locks. The team splits up to search the house. Abigail starts playing music again, taking control of Sammy through the bite. Sammy transforms into a vampire and attacks Peter, killing him while Abigail speaks through her. Abigail forces Sammy to dance, relishing the chaos. Joey and Frank arrive, but Sammy hides her face. When she reveals her transformation, Joey and Frank flee. Sammy chases them to the library, where Abigail, using Sammy's voice, explains her hatred for the room, as her father turns her there. Joey uses a tray to reflect sunlight onto Sammy, causing her to explode. A secret door opens. Despite suspecting a trap, Joey and Frank go through it, finding the mansion's control room and Lambert, who is also a vampire. Lambert grabs Joey and explains that Abigail turned him 2 years ago after discovering he helped Frank infiltrate the gang. Abigail threatened his family, forcing him to bring her father's enemies to the mansion for her amusement. Lambert reveals he has notified Lazar, who is on his way. Lambert, wanting to kill both Abigail and her father, offers to turn Frank if he agrees to help. Frank consents, and Lambert knocks out Joey before biting Frank and making him drink his blood, triggering a painful transformation. Lambert commands Frank to feed on Joey, but Frank stabs him with a stake, causing Lambert to explode. Abigail arrives and attacks, but Frank overpowers her and drinks her blood. Joey seizes the moment to deactivate the security measures at the control panel and retrieves her phone. She finds the exit locked as she runs down the secret corridor. Frank, having finished feeding on Abigail, follows her. Joey leaves a heartfelt voicemail for her son, but Frank pushes her back into the library and violently throws her around. Her attempts to fight back are futile against his vampire strength. Just as he grabs her by the neck and throws her down, Abigail catches her just in time. Abigail, too weak to defeat Frank alone, begs Joey to help her kill him, promising to let her go so she can see her son again. As Frank approaches, the two women team up to fight him, but he proves stronger than both of them combined. After knocking down Abigail, Frank stabs Joey in the shoulder with the stake, pinning her to a pillar. He then resumes attacking Abigail, biting her again as she raises her pinky to remind Joey of their promise. Once Abigail is down, Frank pulls Joey off the stake and bites her neck, throwing her to the floor. When she wakes up, Frank uses his vampire powers to force her to pick up the stake and go after Abigail. However, Joey is pretending and instead pushes Frank, giving Abigail a chance to attack. Abigail explains that Frank's powers aren't fully developed yet, so he can't control or transform Joey. While they fight, Joey retrieves the stake and pulls Frank down. She and Abigail then team up to stab him, causing him to explode. Afterward, Joey worries she might transform, but Abigail reassures her that it won't happen because Frank is dead. Abigail keeps her promise and lets Joey go, urging her to find her son. Suddenly, Joey feels a hand on her shoulder. It's Abigail's father, Lazar, who reveals he has had many names over the years. He wants to kill Joey, but Abigail defends her, saying Joey saved her life and was there for her when he wasn't. Lazar thanks Joey by kissing her hand and letting her go. The movie concludes as Joey rushes back to the van and finds a lollipop. She eats it while driving away. And with that, the movie ends. I hope you enjoyed our video. Watch the next recaps on the screen and don't forget to subscribe for amazing videos. See you in the next one.